Hey everyone, this is Kroll Center again. Probably not what you expected today. I had a bit of an idea. So I've been wanting to eventually show off some of the alerts and some of the other characters I have. And I was planning on doing this later on, like near the end of the series, but having some trouble with random lag spikes. So my idea, silly as it may be, is that I can go on and do this. If the lag spikes come in and botch the whole thing, then you won't even see this video. And since it's on one of the other characters, it won't matter if we have, some sort of major quest or something. So this is Valkosi Lucron. As you can see, I'm not very good at using superhero style names, but I do use others. Alright, so first things first here, Millennium City, and let's see, that's there. I gotta head on over. I'm gonna pick up some of the alert stuff here. Let's see. I'm gonna double check. I don't think he has anything. I don't think this is the one. Yeah, I thought so. We got a couple of people here. Looks like they're not even loading up. Yay. Open missions? No, that's not what I wanted. And Lieutenant Paddle's usually the one. Oh. This character's ready for the Crisis from Monster Island. I'm not going to do that. You're going to see that with the actual major character, Zyragos. Alright. So, we got a couple alerts we can do here. Hi, Pan. Yeah. I hate doing this mission. But, oh well. Mostly just because it gets annoying. And we get 3 burst alerts. That's what they're setting us up to do, so let's go for it. So, this is the mission that they're talking about here. We'll go ahead and click join on that one. And then, let's see if I remember correctly as to which one's bursts. This one burst? Yes, this is a burst alert. And we got Baron Ciemater. Oh, I don't like this guy. He's not that bad, though. Mostly I just don't like the mission he's in, and I don't like him, which kind of makes for a double set. Just stuff I don't like. Doesn't matter. I better sort that stuff. So this character is a Force user, and you'll be able to see this is a more generic character. He's not a pet build. He does have something ridiculously stupid and all that kind of stuff to use on people, though. It's very simple. See all he has to do. Ah, here we go. It's already ready. Assuming all of our teammates click on it, because it's very frequent that someone doesn't respond or clicks no. So, if it gets down to 30 seconds and the other person that last person hadn't clicked on it, then it's basically going to just restart. Yeah, we got 4 seconds left. I believe it starts looking for someone else is what it does. Yeah, so we got an X on there. So if it gets all the way down to 0 and they still haven't filled it in, then it'll just exit. If they do accept it, which they did, then it goes in back to a 10-second timer, and after that's done, it'll start the mission. So this is basically randomly putting it together with 5 people, as a 5-man team, so with 4 other people who may be skill players or maybe brain-dead monkeys who barely managed to turn on the computer. And you may be thinking that that's what you've been paired up with after you meet some of these people, but usually they're not that bad. Sometimes you wonder. Alright, so this one actually turns off your travel powers, so big whoop.
I will hold the portal open as long as I can. Hurry and stop him.
Now you shall bear witness to my ascension!
By the time you've heard that line 10 or so times, it's more than worn out its welcome. Otherwise, it probably wouldn't be so bad. Alright, so I'll go ahead. I don't really have access to the usual travel powers. So basically, this guy puts down an arcane energy field, the circle of arcane power, and then fires off Force Cascade for ridiculous amounts of damage. It has a special little combo here. The Circle of Power counts as having an energy form, which this Force Cascade gets a bonus, basically. Alright, that's just a sigil stone, don't need to bother with those. Anyways, it gets a discount on the cost if you're in an energy form, but it also disables that energy form for something like 8 seconds, I think it says. So the thing about it is that that energy form is not disabled.
Power of the dragon's eye, I'll be all but unstoppable. After I deal with you, I will conquer Millennium City and bring its heroes to their knees.
Right, didn't want to interrupt that. Just in case you haven't seen it for the umpteenth time. Frick. Alright, white is bad in this one, just so you know. Do not be on here in white. Okay, why am I stuck? Okay, so the other thing is, there is this dragon. So when the dragon's up, what you do is you go over here, and you ring the bell. If you're attacking, it'll interrupt it, but this will basically get the dragon to leave you alone for a little bit, and then you can go back to beating on Hypan. Okay. So anyways, so originally you could turn this form, turn this power on, the Circle of Arcane Power, and then just keep firing away with the full discount. They did nerf it. I am so glad they did, because it is ridiculously powerful as it is. And then basically you could, with the way it's set up. Alright, so we got the dragon back. I'll have to go back and hit that again. Looks like someone else has got it. I'll go ahead and use my active offense. I'm going to fire off the big ol' honkin' blast of doom here. Anyways, so you have to reset it each time, but you're still getting the energy cost discount, and basically the extremely high energy cost is the only thing that keeps this thing from being really ridiculous. I mean, we got a base of 4k damage at this level, which isn't too ridiculous. Okay, let's go ahead and ring the bell. I have to turn off my auto attack because it will interrupt. Okay. Watch out for that circle. You never know where it's going to appear, but it can really hurt if you're standing in it.
No! This cannot be! I was to be the greatest sorcerer! The world was to be mine!
Such power was not for one such as you. Thank you for subduing him. He would have torn the earth and sky asunder with such power. Let us take him back to our world, and I will seal the gateway behind them.
Alright, so there's their cheesy little lines. Pick up some stuff here from loot, and that's pretty much the gist of it. And then I believe if you go to your crime computer, you can leave the current map all that much faster. It's not even have to wait. Normally you have to wait after a little bit. It'll give you a button that'll pop up. Allows you to exit the map. That's how people get out there faster, so they get really good at clicking through there. And I don't blame them. So one ability point? What is that? Ranks of advantages. So no good. Alright, might as well turn that in. And in the meantime, re-queue, because you're removed from all the queues as soon as you go into one of these alerts. So this just basically shows you, but you see, that doesn't seem like so bad if it's your first time. Maybe your second. Maybe you'll still be okay after your 10th. How about your 50th? 100th? 500th? Yeah. Boring repetition is the name of the game when it comes to alerts. That's the thing. They're not that bad at first, it's the fact that you keep doing the same thing over and over and over. There's not really very many alerts to cycle through. And so, yeah, they're better done on the side at best. Alright, so I get a little bit of money, a little bit of the until recognition here. Big whoop. Not really going to care. So let's go ahead and see if I can actually get the other one done and head on out and do that. I'm just checking to see what do I have. Do I have anything? Oh, wait, hey, yeah, I can sell. What the heck, I'll sell in my own time. So anyway, so basically that's pretty much it. That's all he does. Circle of Arcane Power and Force Cascade. Emergency Defense he uses for his passive, Personal Force Field. By itself, Personal Force Field is probably the weakest of all of the slotted passives. It's this that it also stacks up with a lot of other options that. Oh, we got more than one option today. Anyways, it stacks up with a bunch of other options that can really make a difference. So basically, for example, I'm using an energy builder. May not seem like much, but there's an advantage you can take on there that gives it a chance to give you a small force field effect. Now, in this case, because I have the passive up, it will basically give that option will give. Okay, what's going on? Oh, lovely. The one that has one person in it is going to lag. Holy crud. That was one heck of a lag spike. Go figure. Anyways, ignoring that. Why do I keep on doing that now? Because now it's just ridiculous. Anyways, so what's basically happening then is that you can start piling these options up. So with this, I've got all this bonus damage from the... or I can take a bunch of bonus damage that goes to the force field instead. With the energy builder, a special ability has a chance to actually put up an extra energy field around him. Counts as having an energy form, by the way, but also it gives a small heal to his force field. So when you look at it, he's got like 3,364, and then you see in parentheses 3,816. The latter number is his force field. So as you can see, he has more force field than he does health. And then you can get other things mixed in here, like, well, in this case, I've also got inertial dampening field. But there's a couple other options, and it also works well, of course, with Field Surge, which not only gives you a shield that absorbs 2,000 damage, but it also gives 2,300 shield strength. Yeah. So that's basically going to boost your shield and do all this extra. So I'm going to go ahead and do this random mission here that probably not going to see done elsewhere. And it'll probably get interrupted in the middle with a little thing saying, hey, your burst alert's ready. But, at least you'll get to see what it's like to do alerts. And sometimes, burst alerts I think is one of the ones that's the hardest to actually get in. The XP one is definitely the easiest, because lots of people like that. By the way, watch out if you see Jack Fool. He has an attack that can nearly one-shot anyone, pretty much. Alright, so we're going to rescue scientists from Viper, looks like. So I'm just going to fly over. Yeah, that doesn't look like... See, they're talking to each other, and that's why I'm stopping and check it out, but it doesn't look like an actual scientist to rescue, so... there we go. So, go ahead and get this going. I went ahead and... Come on. What? Okay, that's weird. It wouldn't let me target the other guy. Kept switching back. Anyways, lock and load gives a, as far as its options, it gives a power discount, and it also gives an extra crit chance, if I remember correctly. And there, yeah, there's a 7,000 damage crit. Yeah, that's pretty much the gist of what he does. Instead of giving him the usual setup, as far as a lot of people will do with taking concentration, I actually gave him a little bit more defense. In his case, with the inertial dampening field, it gives your entire team a buff. In this case, it's reducing all damage by a flat 75. Oh, and just as I was about to... So this happens actually a lot, is that it comes up and says it's ready, and then the next thing you know, it swaps them, and then you can't even accept it. That actually happens a lot. That bug has been in there for years, so nothing new. So, very frequent to have that happen. So, I'm going to have to try again for Alcathoth, and how do I know how to pronounce that? Only because I've heard it spoken a bajillion times in alerts. It says, you're removed from the queue. Well, so is everyone else. Have to be very quick on the draw to get that button in time. And probably not going to matter, because, yeah, everyone else would have to be quick on the draw too. Anyways, but moving on, we got one scientist rescued. We get the other two before we get pulled into an alert? That would be the question. I see one. Gonna hide him back here. Anyways, I've also got, like, for example, on this guy, I've got this power set up where I can actually increase the power of my force attacks as long as I'm standing this little energy field, so if I'm going to do subsequent attacks, they could be even more ridiculous. Because why not? Anyways, but yeah, so you get some various bonuses. Also, it's important to note that that 75 damage, like I said, is for the whole team, not just me. So it's actually a team buff as well, a little bit of extra support. So, alright. Go ahead and get him flying around again. You know, come to think of it, something's not right here. I thought you got your second travel power at level 30. Maybe it's 35? Because I don't see a second travel power on him. Just flight. Oh well, doesn't matter. Zip on through. I can always check the powers and make sure that it's not just missing or something. Yep, that's it. Alright. So, where else could they hide him? Actually, I think there's another area I haven't actually gotten a chance to explore yet. Alright, for the force field thing that I'm using also. Alright, so when you're blocking, the amount of... So basically your personal force field will get a constant regeneration. But if you're blocking, the generation rate goes up, and if you're taking hits, it goes down. So, blocking allows you to counteract that. Combine the extra blocking power from that particular one, and also, if you hold it blocked down for a second, then continue on, so you get energy back from blocking, and this allows you to basically get energy for a few more seconds after that too, as well as a bit of additional protection, damage resistance. So really helps if you're going to do heavy blocking. And when you're a heavy damage dealer, considering that there are very, very few people out there on the alerts who are actual tanks, it's very probable that you will be tanking if you're doing a lot of damage, whether you like it or not. That's why I actually go for balance mode in this case, instead of a tanking mode. It's because I'm actually playing a damage dealer, but I would like to be able to survive long enough to deal damage. So, kaboom. It's another guy flying. Looks like we did find the guy in this extra room. Alright. Looks like we're going to get to finish this mission after all. At this rate, we don't even get to see that. Which is also a part of alerts, is that if it cannot find 5 people, then you're not getting into the alert. So, as a case in point, looks like we're going to have to head to the entrance to get out of here. If you wanted to, for example, sign up for a certain crisis, like the Monster Island crisis, you may be able to get in, you may not, but you'd have to do it basically like on your own time, solo it usually, because no one's ever going to really be there. And so if they won't let you in any other way, such as Little Murian Crisis was, at least for a while, I don't know if it still is, you're out of luck. That's what it comes down to. You're just not going to be able to do anything. Okay, one of these has to have the door out of here. One of these has to have the door. You know, come to think of it, I wonder, can I leave the current map? Will that work? Because really I have no reason to be here. And other than just the fact that I can't find the door. And that doesn't matter. Anyways, so it kind of gives you a little bit more idea. I'm clearly not a fan of alerts. Probably a little bit extra negative on them. But it's because they're giant pain in the gluteus maximus. But why do people put them in there? Well, alerts actually have a bit higher difficulty than more normal gameplay. And Questionite can be earned from a number of sources, including alerts. The Questionite store has gear in it that's more powerful than anything else you can get in the entire game, including some pretty radically overpowered awesomeness. Which means you can get, basically if you go through the alerts, you're going to get those. The alerts are harder and help encourage people to do things like, for example, buy some temporary boosts that'll give you extra catalyst upgrades, maybe or something like that. We can get things like some extra heals, bonus enhancements when you pick up enhancements, bonus damage. Basically, remember, it's one, if you're in the United States, it gives us US money. For here, at least, it's going to be about 1 penny for each Zen. So this will be like $1 for this. A little 4-pack of increasing damage. Lasts 10 minutes each. Or, see, nope, 5 minutes. Even less than I would have thought. You can buy the Zen, and sometimes you can get a discount and buy it in bulk. But you're still paying pretty close to that price, so maybe you'll get a 20-30% discount off the tops, I would guess. It's not a lot. In any case, the main point being, it's a giant pain in the rear. So they're basically trying to push pay to win. Now, I'm actually someone who's been studying for a long time to be a developer. I may like doing these these Let's Plays, but really my big passion is to become a developer. My health has blocked that. I've been studying games for a long time because I want to try to know how they work and what would be the best option to make these things work out right. So, that being said, I have actually been studying this. I'm trying to figure out... Okay, we have a mission that's another instance one. I was trying to avoid that. We have this one, which does not... It looks like it's just generic. Alright, just any ghosts anywhere around here. Alright, so I'm just going to go find something that looks somewhat spectral and pound the snot out of it and see what happens. Okay, those aren't spectral, but you know what? Now, that one is. That'll work. Alright. So, that being said, this is something that's been going on for a while, especially with MMOs, is an overall degrading quality, which is accepted because, you know, there aren't a whole lot of older gamers, to be perfectly honest. And as a result, very few people actually remember what it was like, and don't even know that the only improvements we've really had over the last few years are like 90% graphics. Really awesome graphical updates, blown just the lid off of everything as far as that goes. Really have made some huge improvements. Sometimes we make, the other 10% would probably be mostly in just design as far as better game mechanics and so forth. Alright, so it looks like that was just basically a sign. And so, okay, you get a little bit better. Something, at least. But mostly it's graphics. And very little actual improvement, with some exceptions, such as the fact that Minecraft came up with a whole new genre that's like so many people have been clamoring over trying to get their own version of the game to be made and make a bunch of money off of it in one fashion or another, including Microsoft doling out, what was it, $2 billion to buy out the game? And that's what they finally settled on? Holy frick, these guys are desperate. And for what? They're not going to make that money back. It's just not going to happen now. It's too old. And games, sadly, don't have that much longevity. No matter how awesome they are. They're eventually going to fade. But the thing is that, you know, we didn't always have pay-to-win, horse armor DLC type garbage. We didn't always have to deal with that. And now we do. And people were already upset when they first came out with basically what amounts to be month-to-month payments on MMOs. Because it's like, why do I have to keep paying for it? Well, the reason is partly because MMOs last a lot longer. It's actually a gimmick for getting money. And the other part is that, quite frankly, it costs a lot of money to keep the servers up and keep all their teams going. And just with the way the business model works, it's a much longer term investment. And so they actually do need that to some degree, but not to that much. So it's just kind of one of those things that they do. But if they're getting money, then they can keep the servers going. If they're not, eventually they're going to have to turn them off, because they're not going to get enough from sales alone. That's just generally how it works. And so there is some minor justification The free to play idea was basically a lie to begin with, so that's why I'm very much against it. I do have my own game design I've been working on for who the frick knows how long. Well, since I was 12. Although I've made some major changes to actually solidify it, but many of the concepts have actually shown up in later games. Uh, so I'm actually glad to see that. Which means it's actually got a chance in heck of ever coming to pass in one fashion or another. And I do want to make sure I do a better job of it. But then again, I'd probably be starting off as sort of an indie game designer because you don't see nearly as much garbage in the indie field as you do out in the normal field, and that's because the main problem isn't the developers. You do get some a-hole developers who are really full of themselves and just won't listen to reason. But primarily what you're going to be running into is basically the producers who know absolutely nothing about how to produce a game and basically are just about trying to tell people what to do and take their money after they do it. They really are just financial backers at best. But over time, as we've gone over the last few decades, we've seen them go from more reasonable to just real giant pains in the rear to everyone. And very few good producers, if any, left. So, well, kind of sad. But it's how it goes. This game actually was a lot better. Like, it's not getting better, it's getting worse. It's, I've even seen some people saying this game, really needs a lot, deserves a lot more. A lot more coverage and stuff. Sorry, but I'm gonna have to disagree. In that the reason the game doesn't get much coverage is because it's not that great. I know I'm gonna get some hate for saying that. But you know what? It is what it is. The game really... There we go again. See? That's twice now that it prevented us from actually joining the alert queue. Alright, that's enough. I'm just gonna go get my... at last, my ectoplasmic residue for the mission. We're gonna call this a video on this one. You see how boring this is, though? I mean, holy crud. Look, I go 1, 2. 1, 2. That's pretty much it. There's so many games that are so much better out there right now that it's just this kind of gameplay can't compete. City of Heroes blew this game away. So we have a company that the game it was known for basically is so much better than this, it's just laughable. There's the fact that they had to pull out a lot of the good content in favor of garbage content. They had some good stuff going, they just blew it. And honestly, the City of Heroes team was divided. Not everyone went with Cryptic Studios. And honestly, I think the better portion stayed behind with City of Heroes from what I could see. It's really sad. I wish this game could work better. I really do. It does have so much potential. This is a classless system. You can see classless systems a lot. You can choose your own abilities when you're playing like a tabletop role-playing. Actually, one of my favorite systems is the hero system, and that's the one that Champions system became. But Champions is all about superheroes, and hero system is multi-genre. So like me, I tend to run medieval high fantasy stuff. Like Final Fantasy, high fantasy, ridiculous stuff where they just throw some stuff in there that's a little off the wall. And it's fun. And you can do anything you want just about in that system. Not everything fits well. I found out the hard way that trying to create a simple shield to go on your ships, like Star Trek style, isn't really going to work very well there. You can do it, but it's not very good imitation. But that's okay. Most things do a lot better than that. But I wish they could have done a little bit more with this. Then again, Skyrim actually did a pretty good job of it. So I think it could have been done better here too if they had just taken some time to work it out a little bit more. But they didn't have the option to. And, we saw Star Trek Online come out. I think it had a great start, and again, they started wrecking it later on. I think it's mostly because Perfect World Entertainment just happened to come in, and within months we started seeing major things just falling apart. So, not so good. But it is what it is. So we're stuck with it. We can still have fun. It's not like the game's total garbage. Believe me, there are games way worse than this ever would be, even with the bugs. But the reason why it doesn't get a lot of attention is because it's got a lot of flaws. And even though you can have a lot of fun, that's not going to compete. It's not about whether you got a good game or not, it's about whether you can compete with the other games. And sometimes the dumb games are the most popular. Holy frick, how you can hardly I don't think you could be a gamer and not hear about Call of Duty these days. It's not like it's a good game. I mean, if you like first person shooters that are repetitive and go around and snipe everyone, then that's kind of the new one. Before that, you had like Counter Strike, and it's just this genre that does well. It does sell well. More recently, we've heard a ton about Overwatch. So yeah, there's some stuff like that that'll sell really well. But or Halo. Halo at least had a single player campaign that was pretty decent. But that being said, it is what it is. They're still good in this. Anyways, next time we're going to be able to get back to. Looks like we didn't get any crashes or stupid lag spikes out of freaking nowhere. So I think we'll be able to go back to our usual character. Um, quite frankly, we didn't get a single burst alert in. I'm dropping the burst alert mission, like I usually do. So, yeah, probably didn't see the best today as far as this goes, but, well, that's alerts for you. That's why I don't like them. I still think there's some good stuff left in the game. I've been showing you as much as I can of it. There are a lot of people who will level from 1 to 40 on alerts, like as soon as they're allowed. They'll start jumping into alerts. I think at level 10 is the earliest, so you can start doing the XP ones. I don't know why you would do that to yourself, but okay. Up to you. It's just what it is. They added in a PvP system that wasn't total garbage, but they never fixed the old one. Like, okay, you got these alerts, right? They're about hero games. You'll notice it says average weight unknown. Why? You will never see any of these run unless someone like forms a team with their own friends that they happen to know or something. These just don't ever form. No one does this. Why? Because it's horrifically imbalanced. And most of the PvP people were total a-holes to new guys, which scared up people off, and that's like, well, that's not going to help you at all. Here's the crisis. Again, weight unknown. Meanwhile, these are the ones that actually get through. So that's the difference. But it is what it is. So again, I'm trying not to be totally bashing on the game. I do like certain aspects of the game. And it's got some cool stuff. It's got a great costume creator, and maybe not as good as City of Heroes was, but it's still pretty good. They've got better facial options in it, at least. Well, to some extent, better facial sliders. But they all have the same face, with very little variation. But there are some ways you can get around that, which I've already got. You can see that actually right here on this guy. He doesn't look as much like the standard everyday character that you run across. He does have a little bit different imagery. And you can see I was able to create a very different outfit for him. So he's got a little bit of an armored look, but still got the cape and whatnot. So, you've got some really cool options in here. Some of it's more standard stuff. Let's be honest, you probably didn't need these characteristics, but they put it in there, and so what? We made use of it. It's still fun. You still got the builds that can still be fun. You've got, your costumes. For example, I can swap here, and I'll go ahead and have him change costume, and boom, I've got a new look, including, I believe, if I remember correctly, the powers were colored differently, or did I never actually color those correctly? Oh, now that's interesting. Yeah, so the powers are supposed to actually be color-coded anyways, and I guess maybe something happened and I didn't get the other one color-coded. Now it's back to its blue, which is what I'm going to leave it at. It would have been gold with this one, but I can swap out those colors pretty quickly. You can get auras, although admittedly I prefer the old version of auras, but that's okay. I can see why they use the new version. Definitely has a reason for it. There's some cool stuff in here. You do have options if you want to earn some recognition and stuff. You could find some really cool things there. You've got like your onslaught tokens and stuff. which can definitely be interesting in its own right. So that's actually pretty good. So there's still good stuff here. But, well, yeah. Alerts is not good. Oh, well, let's get back to kicking some tail with Zyragos and see if we can get our ice lizard back. Man, that guy was cool. I'll see you later.